Hello, welcome back and Happy New Year. My aircraft is still in maintenance on its annual inspection, so today I'm going to be covering some of the most frequently asked questions to do with pilot training, learning to fly and scholarships and bursaries. Stay tuned to find out more. One of the most common questions I get asked, and question number one, is modular or integrated flight training. Firstly, what is the difference between the two? Modular flight training is broken up into different parts. Integrated flight training is one full-time course that incorporates all the different parts of your flying training. They both have benefits and disadvantages, and it really depends on how much money you have, how much time you have, and what your end goal is. There's quite a lot of misunderstanding between the two. At the end of the day, both modular and integrated can take you from no experience to being a fully qualified commercial airline pilot, or have your frozen air transport pilot's license. Modular is broken up into the separate parts. You start off by completing your private pilot's license, then do hour building and your night rating, some ground exams, and then go on and complete your commercial instrument rating, multi-crew course, and upset prevention and recovery training. Integrated is a combination of all these things into one course, usually around 18 to 24 months. Modular training can also be completed just as quickly as integrated training, providing you have the time and money to fund your training. Alternatively, you can slow this down and complete each part of the course step by step. This is better suited to someone that is maybe working alongside flying training and maybe has a bit more of a budget. Integrated flight training costs between £80,000 and £120,000, and you usually complete your training in a group of students. Modular flight training can be as cheap as £40,000 to £50,000, and even cheaper if you can get yourself some scholarships and bursaries. It must be said that there are also some sponsorship and scholarship opportunities for integrated training, but these are much fewer and far between. I completed modular training. I really enjoyed doing it this way. Not only did it give me a chance to live life alongside learning to fly, I also managed to gain lots of scholarships and bursaries to help fund my flying training. In addition, it gave me the opportunity to complete my training at my own pace, and also fly a variety of aircraft at a variety of locations around the UK. In my personal opinion, I think this has made me a much more well-rounded pilot. It's worth noting that being a commercial airline pilot is not the only end goal. There are plenty of other flying opportunities and commercial flying jobs that you could do. Make sure you do your research into what your eventual goal is, as well as modular and integrated flight training, to make sure you make the right choice for yourself. A second common question I get asked all the time is, should I complete an EASA or a UK CAA license? And some people ask, should I complete both? It really depends on what your end goal is and where you have a right to work. An EASA license will allow you to fly for a European-based airline or an airline out in an EU country, and a UK license will allow you to fly for a UK operator. Having both allows you a multitude of these opportunities, but it is more expensive. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, what is the cheapest way to become a pilot? Now, it's worth noting that the cheapest route is generally modular over integrated flight training. This is because you can break it down into its component parts and pay for them all individually. That being said, if you've got a lump sum, you can also complete it in the same time that you would an integrated course, and generally for less money. you have a wealth of scholarships and bursaries you're able to apply for, and these can help you break up and pay for those component parts that make up the pilot training. Modular training allows you to work alongside flying training, as you can do it at your own pace. This means that if you're self-funding your flying journey, you can save up and also complete your training at a steady pace to get through it. Using flying experience wisely is another good way of reducing the cost of your flying training. As an example, once you complete your private pilot's license, as part of your hour building, I could recommend completing your Instrument Rating Restricted or UK IMC rating. By doing this, you can gain up some Pilot in Command IFR hours, which can then be used to complete a competency-based instrument rating. The instrument rating is one of the most expensive parts of flying training, so by doing this, you could save yourself somewhere in the region of £5,000 to £10,000. Doing your instrument rating before your commercial pilot's license also means you can use some of the instrument experience to reduce the total hours to complete your commercial pilot's license. Again, this could save you a couple of £1,000s in flight training. Other good tips to reduce the cost of flying training include practicing your skills on a flight simulator at home. This can massively reduce the amount of time needed to teach you in the aircraft. It's a good way of refreshing your skills, practicing exercises you've completed, and simple things like circuit procedures and radio telephony procedures. Ultimately, this is going to reduce the amount of time you need to spend in the aircraft and can therefore reduce the cost. There's also some great apps you can get on your phone, tablet, and computer to help you with flying training, whether that be from your ground exams to your instrument rating. Speak to other pilots and people at your local airfield, as well as your flying school or instructor, and they'll more than likely be able to advise you on some of the best apps that you can get. Another excellent way of gaining flying experience and getting into flying without spending lots and lots of money is to look at things like gliding or flying microlights. This can be done at many airfields and locations around the UK. I'm sure there's one local to you, and it's a great way to build experience. In some cases, probably a lot of cases, you can use some of this experience towards your flying training too. That brings me on nicely to another common question I get asked. How do I get started, or how do I start learning to fly? Before you go anywhere near an aircraft, I'd recommend doing some research. There's a real wealth of opportunities available to you, and you really want to understand what you want to get out of flying. Is it just for fun, or do you want to go on and do it for work? Again, if you want to do it for work, there are lots of different opportunities that you could uptake. For example, you might want to be a commercial airline pilot, you might want to be a flying instructor, or you might want to do something else, for example, a prop spraying pilot, a banner towing pilot, or a skydiving pilot. The next two steps I'd recommend is going to complete a trial lesson at your local airfield or gliding school, and also completing some form of medical that's relevant for the flying you want to eventually complete. Generally, there's two different types. There's a Class 2 medical for private flying, or a Class 1 medical for commercial flying. There's also some other more lenient options into private flying, but it does have more restrictions. More information can be found on the UK CAA website or on the relevant aviation authority website local to you. Getting your medical done and out of the way means that you know that you're safe to fly. I've heard of people before learning to fly and spending lots of money on flying before completing a full medical, and then realising that there is something that will stop them becoming a commercial pilot or private pilot eventually. The next question is, what scholarships and bursaries are available? I can only talk for the UK here, but I'm sure there are similar opportunities in Europe and worldwide. There are some organisations and charities which offer regular scholarships and bursaries to future pilots. Some of these include the Air League, Air Cadets, the Honourable Company of Air Pilots, the British Women Pilots Association, Airability, and also some flight schools such as ACS Flight Training and FDE Haref, based in Spain, have also recently offered a fully funded ATPL integrated course scholarship. The small list I've given you are only some of the opportunities available. To gain a full list, do your research online. There's a real wealth of scholarships, bursaries and opportunities available to people that want to go on to fly. Usually you can find the terms and conditions for each scholarship and bursary on the organisation or charity's website. This will give you a good overview as to whether you're eligible to apply, the dates at which you can apply, and also an idea of what's needed before you submit your application. I've been lucky enough to gain lots of scholarships and bursaries to support with my flying training. A lot of people ask me, what did you put on the application form or how did you apply? The main thing that all these organisations and charities are looking for is your passion and determination to fly. They want to give the scholarships and bursaries to people that really want to go on and fly because they love flying, not people that want to go on and fly just because they think it's something cool to do. You really have to get your passion and determination across in the application. Give some examples. Do you volunteer at a local airfield or spend hours watching the planes go by? You might also have a home flight simulator, which you often use to practice your flying skills and learn more about flying. All of these things are key things to put on your application form. The people that offer scholarships and bursaries really want to see your passion for flying and your determination to get there. If you really are passionate and determined, I can guarantee you will eventually get there. One of my followers has asked the question, do you have any advice for getting back into flying after a 20-year break? A couple of pieces of advice that I could offer is get back down to your local airfield, flying school or gliding club and start chatting to the pilots. Reignite that passion and start understanding any differences that may have changed since you last flew. At the same time, if there are any locally based pilots or anyone willing to take you flying, then get back up in the air and get that feel for flying again. Another good couple of ways are YouTube videos, watching some flying videos to pick back up the radio telephony and the different skills required for flying. And also potentially getting some of the apps or a flight simulator like I mentioned earlier in this video to help support your refreshing of your flying skills and flying training. Once you're ready, get yourself back down to your local flying school or gliding club and get yourself back in the air. I'm sure it won't take long before it all comes back to you and you've got a revalidated license once again. Thank you to those that have made it this far. My final question comes from one of my followers. What's it like having an aircraft based at Lyon-Solent? Alongside the great facilities, it's the staff and the people for me that make Lyon-Solent a great airfield. The FISOs, operations team, local pilots, flying schools and aviation enthusiasts make a real great community at the airfield I love to fly from. Not only that, but because of its location, Lyon-Solent offers some great views from when you're flying. We've got the Isle of Wight a stone's throw away and mainland Europe just across the channel. I absolutely love flying from Lyon-Solent and can't wait to start instructing there this year too. If you're ever visiting Lyon-Solent or flying in, please let me know. If I'm available, I'd love to come and chat and say hello. Hopefully the answers to those questions are useful in some way. If you have any questions yourself or want any tips and tricks or pointers, please do pop me a comment below or send me a message to one of my social media accounts. I'd love to help you out. Otherwise, thank you for watching today's video. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Stay safe and I look forward to bringing you flying again very soon.